Good morning, my dear students. So, in this fifth semester, so you are going to see about the subject that is 18 MPC 504 Thermal Engineering. So, this is a core subject, and in the previous semester, you have studied about thermodynamics, which is related to this thermal engineering. So, that is we have studied about the basic concepts of thermodynamics, and then first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics, then about substances, pure substances and mixtures, then combustion, how combustion takes place and how we have to go for rich mixture, lean mixture and all, then Rankine cycle and cyclometry. So these are the things you have studied in this thermodynamics, and in this semester you are going to see about thermal engineering. So here you are going to see the first we should know the prerequisites. What are the prerequisites? One is engineering chemistry and other one is the introduction to electromagnetism and applied physics. And the main objective of this course is, so the student should be able to apply or this course objective is designed to teach the application of thermodynamic principles to the design and optimization of engineering systems. So especially the students will have the ability to apply the first law and second law of thermodynamics to internal combustion engines and then compression and refrigeration systems. So it is from this course objective itself we know that so the student should be somewhat well versed with the thermodynamics. So here in case of thermal engineering, so we have 5 units. Among the 5, the first unit has named as gas power cycles, and the second unit internal combustion engines, and the third unit refrigeration and air conditioning, and fourth boilers and air compressors, and the fifth one is turbo machines and its applications. So now, so in this class you are going to see about the overall view of all the 5 units. So just an overall view of all the 5 units and gas power cycles. So introduction to gas power cycle and the basic cycles, Carnot cycle, then Otto cycle and diesel cycle. And irrespective of this Otto and diesel, so we are going to study or see the derivation for the efficiency and the mean effective pressure and some problems which are related to those. And now you go to unit 1. So the unit 1 is gas power cycles. So the contents for this unit 1 are gas standard cycles, Carnot cycle, then Otto cycle, diesel cycle, and then Stirling. So something. So we will know about the introduction of this Stirling cycle, and then Ericsson cycle, limited pressure cycle, which is otherwise called as dual combustion cycle, and also the mean effective pressure. So how to find the mean effective pressure for this Otto, diesel and dual combustion cycle, and the comparison of this Otto, diesel, dual and the Brayton cycle. And apart from this, we will also study about aircraft propulsion and combined this what is that, Brayton and Rankine cycle. So we will study about all those. So in this unit, so you may get in your semester you may get questions on problems which are related to this diesel cycle efficiency, mean effective pressure, and the same as that for Otto cycle also. So you should thoroughly concentrate on the mean effective pressure and air standard efficiency, and also you have to know the comparison of this Otto, diesel, and then limited pressure cycle and also this Brayton cycle. So one part you will get problems on these cycles or derivation, and other maybe problems on this Rankine combined cycles, Brayton and Rankine cycle, and some theoretical parts maybe about this aircraft propulsion. So in this unit or in this class you can see So what is a air standard cycle and what is the need for it, and how a Carnot cycle works and how a Otto cycle works and diesel cycle and its mean effective pressure and air standard efficiency. So what is a air standard cycle? So it is a device or a system which is used to produce power. They are often called as engines. So and these engines, they operate on this thermodynamic cycles. So they are called as power cycles. Thermodynamic cycles can also be categorized classified into gas cycles and vapor cycles, so which depends on the phase of the working fluid. So in case of gas cycles, when you go for gas cycles, the working fluid, so it remains in the gaseous phase throughout the cycle. But whereas when you go for these vapor cycles, the working fluid, it exists as vapor phase in one part, and in the other part it exists as the liquid. Okay. So you have two phases in vapor cycles. Now in this class you are going to study about this gas cycles. So some terms which are used for this air standard cycles. The basic thing is efficiency. So air standard efficiency. So we all know that efficiency is the ratio between output and input. So you have to calculate what is the input that is going to given to the engine, and then what is the output that is obtained. So generally input is always greater than the output, because all the input that is given to an engine will not be converted into output. So we know that there are many losses. For example, suppose if you supply heat energy, so that heat energy is taken away by for lubrication. If it is oil is used, then heat energy will be taken for lubrication through oil, through water, and there are some unaccounted losses, and some part only will be converted into this useful work. Okay, so if the efficiency is higher, that means the performance of the engine is good. So now the efficiency of the engine using air as the working medium is known as air standard efficiency. So the actual gas power cycles, they are complex cycles. So it is very difficult to identify the working behavior of this actual gas power cycles. So to reduce the analysis to a manageable level, so that means, so based on the assumptions, so we utilize these approximations called what I have said, assumptions. So those assumptions are called as air standard assumptions. Okay. So what are they? So initially we assume that the working fluid is air. So in the cycle, so we have seen this in thermodynamics, that is thermodynamic cycle. So what is a cycle? So it has to start at some point and it has to end at the same point. Through that it may follow different process. So maybe isothermal, maybe adiabatic, maybe polytrophic, so maybe throttling process, pre-expansion process. So all this we have studied in thermodynamics. We have studied it, what is the amount of heat energy that is required or that is to be obtained during each and every process. So we have studied the formulas and everything. The same we are going to apply here. So when it is a isothermal process, what is the formula for work done? When it is an adiabatic process, what is the formula for work done? Then heat energy, or there is heat energy that is supplied Q. What is the formula for W? Okay, so we are going to adapt all this in this thermodynamic cycles. So then the mass of the working fluid, it remains constant throughout the cycle. So that means if a mass of m kilogram is supplied of air is supplied to the engine, so throughout the process it works on the same m, that is m kg, and it remains m, both this input and output, both these conditions m remains same, but that is not possible. So for since this is a complex process, so we assume all this. So to get some equations, to get some expressions. Okay. So the working fluid here, we assume that it is homogeneous throughout the cycle and no chemical reaction takes place. So can you say that the working fluid is homogeneous throughout the cycle? No, it is not at all possible, because the working fluid what we are using, so will have its own nature and it will react with air. Suppose if air we assume that the working fluid is air. So only air is inside this combustion chamber, but it is not in real. It is not so. So we are using petrol, we are using gasoline, and we are using LPG, CNG, and all. So certainly that will react with air at higher temperatures or the required temperatures for that combustion. So it will give out some chemical reaction, but we assume here that no chemical reaction takes place. So here the air behaves as an ideal gas and its specific heat is constant at all the temperatures. So the air it behaves as an ideal. Ideal means imaginary. So it has some different characters. So those characters are imaginary characters. So the specific heat Cp and Cv, that is specific heat at constant volume and the specific heat at constant pressure. So it has some constant values. So we assume all those. Okay, and then the cycle is considered closed. It is a closed cycle since the same air, so always remaining inside the engine cylinder to repeat the cycle. So once if some mkg of air enters inside the cylinder, engine cylinder, the same is extends as long as these processes continues. Okay, and now we can go for Carnot cycle. So this cycle is an hypothetical cycle which has highest possible efficiency. So that means it is not going to give 100% efficiency when compared with the other cycles. There is like Otto, diesel, dual, Brayton, then Stirling, Ericsson. So this cycle will give the highest possible efficiency. So suppose when you invent an engine, so you have to compare that engine inventing what you have invented. So you have to compare the efficiency of the engine what you have invented, so with Carnot cycle efficiency. Suppose if Carnot cycle efficiency is greater, so that means your claim may be right. But when the Carnot cycle efficiency is lesser than the efficiency of the inventor, so some inventor who had invented the engine, so then that is wrong. So this cycle is the base which we are going to compare with the other air standard cycles. So generally it consists of this Carnot cycle consists of 4 processes. One is isothermal expansion, adiabatic expansion, isothermal compression, and adiabatic compression. So we have studied about all these processes. In isothermal, we can see that in isothermal process temperature remains constant. In adiabatic, entropy remains constant. Okay, so the temperature, but it is very difficult to maintain the temperature inside this engine cylinder. So we have such an arrangement we have to make, and these assumptions what we have made in air standard cycle will help us to achieve this isothermal process and adiabatic process, both compression and expansion. Okay. So what are the assumptions made? The piston which is moving in the cylinder, it does not produce any friction during motion. So you can see that, so a piston and a cylinder arrangement, So this is, in this, the first assumption is the piston moving in the cylinder, it does not produce any friction during motion. Okay. And the cylinder head is arranged in such a way that it can be perfect conductor or insulator. So you can see here, so the cylinder head, so this is the cylinder head, so it can be a perfect conductor or otherwise an insulator. So conductor means it acts as the source and insulator means it acts as the sink. The walls of the cylinder and piston are considered as perfect insulators of the heat. So that means no heat energy is transmitted. So outside this cylinder wall and the piston. So we are assuming in such a way. And heat transfer does not affect the temperature of source or sink. Is it possible? No. This heat transfer will always affect the temperature of the source or sink, but we assume for making it into simpler calculations. So then compression and expansion processes are reversible. So as a cycle, so when we want to achieve a thermodynamic cycle, so we have to assume that the compression process as well as the expansion process are reversible. Then only it can reach it can form a cycle. When it takes place under some thermodynamic system, then that will be called as a thermodynamic cycle. The next one is working medium is a perfect gas and has constant specific heat. So the working medium, so we assume that it is a perfect gas. So perfect gas means which obeys all the gas laws. Okay, so what are those laws? Boyle's law, Charles' law, Gay-Lussac's law. Okay. So this is the diagram, PV diagram, which represents the Carnot cycle. So we have studied, we have seen that you have an isothermal, you have two isothermal process and two adiabatic process. So the first one is to one to or A to B. You can see here. So this is isothermal expansion. So here in this process the temperature remains constant. So when you draw a TS diagram for this, so when it is 1 to 2, so that should be the temperature should be constant line. So T line should be constant line, and 2 to 3 is an adiabatic process and the expansion continues further. So the entropy remains constant during that process, and similarly for the other isothermal compression and adiabatic compression. So you can see here, so what we have assumed that, so you have a heat source and a sink or a insulator. Okay, perfect conductor and perfect insulator. So when this get contacts, when the cylinder head it get contacts with this source, so you can see that heat energy is made to travel through inside this engine cylinder, and you can see that this piston will travel from or move away from this head, that is cylinder head, and it will move in this direction. Okay, and you can see here, so it starts to move. So 1 to 2, so this heat energy that is from this conductor, so will pass on through this at a constant rate. Okay, but that is not at all possible. So throughout this process, that is A to B, the temperature remains constant. Okay, and then B to C you can see here. So that is that the temperature, that hot source, so it gains energy further. So and since it moves to the maximum distance, it tries to move towards this cylinder head, that is during this expansion process. So the expansion process continues from A to C, so it reaches the maximum position, that is so 1 to 2, and then it tries to move toward this cylinder head position. Okay, so then you can see here, so it reaches that maximum position, so that is at the point 2. So you can see that it reaches the maximum position. Now it starts to move toward this cylinder head, so that means it get contact with this sink. Okay, so the temperature reduces. Okay, and then so you can see that a compression process takes place. So that means, so the volume here it reduces, so compression process takes place, so it get contact with the sink, so the temperature reduces, and once again it continues. So D to A, adiabatic compression. okay, D2A adiabatic compression. So then the entropy remains constant during this D to A. So A to B is isothermal expansion and B to C is adiabatic expansion, and then C to D is isothermal compression and D to A is adiabatic compression. So these are the four processes which involve in this Carnot cycle. So we know that if you want to find the efficiency of this cycle, so efficiency is, what is the formula for efficiency? Output by input. So now we should know what is the output and what is the input. The input is the amount of heat energy that is supplied. Suppose if you consider a notation for heat energy as Q, then Q suffix S is the amount of heat energy supplied. And the output should be, what is that, heat energy, amount of heat energy that has to be rejected, okay, and some useful work will be performed. So the output will be this, the difference between this, how much of energy is supplied and how much of energy is rejected. You find the difference between these two, so you can say that, so what is the output of the engine, and then the input, the ratio between output and input, that means QS minus QR divided by QS. So that will be equal to 1 minus QR by QS. So if QS, you can see here, is the amount of heat energy, that is QH, here it is taken as QH minus QL by QH, that becomes 1 minus QL by QH. So this is the amount of heat energy, higher heat energy, and this is low heat energy. So that is nothing but Q, this is QS, how much of heat energy that is supplied, and this is the amount of heat energy that is rejected. And these are its respective temperatures. Suppose if you take this as T1 and T2, so it is up to you to consider all this, whether T1 has to be the higher temperature or T2 has to be the higher temperature. It is up to you to consider all those. Okay, so PV, but the concept is 1 minus QL by QH, that is equal to 1 minus TL by TH. So lower by higher, so 1 minus lower by, so that the efficiency value will always be less than 1. So we know that the efficiency should always be less than 1. So the maximum, since the maximum efficiency that is achieved is 100%, efficiency will always be less than 1. Okay. Now we can see Otto cycle. So if you go for Otto cycle, this is otherwise called as a constant volume cycle. So the petrol engines, they work on this Otto cycle. So gasoline is used there. So this otherwise called as petrol cycle. Since heat addition takes place at constant volume, so heat addition takes place at constant volume. So then that is called as constant volume cycle. So if you see that PV and TS diagram, so process 1 you can see that process 1 to 2 is a reversible adiabatic compression, and 2 to 3 is constant volume heat addition, then 3 to 4 is reversible adiabatic expansion, and 4 to 1 is constant volume heat rejection. So 1 to 2 you can see it is an adiabatic process. So when you look at the temperature entropy diagram, the entropy remains constant during this 1 to 2 process, that is reversible adiabatic compression process. So you can see that the entropy remains constant in this TS diagram. And 2 to 3 the heat addition takes place. If heat energy is added, the temperature drastically increases. So you can see the curve that the heat energy, so when it is added, the temperature increases. So 2 to 3. Then 3 to 4 is an adiabatic expansion process. So the entropy remains constant, and 4 to 1 and it is a heat rejection process, and so the temperature reduces. This is an adiabatic process, so the entropy remains constant. So in this, so you can see that when you look at an engine, so you can see that, so this point, from this point to, So this line, so this indicates the clearance volume, and from this line to here it indicates 1, so it indicates the stroke volume. So 1 to 2, so this in this V graph, so PV graph, you can say that this 1 to 2 it indicates the stroke volume, and from 2 to this pressure line it indicates the clearance volume. Okay. So now, so you can now you know clearly about this PV and TS diagram. So the efficiency. So what is the efficiency? The same formula that is output by input. So what is the amount of heat energy that is supplied? So by that is output QS minus QR divided by QS, or otherwise QH minus QL divided by this QH. Okay. So either you can use any of the notations. It is up to the students to remember all this. So you can use the notations whatever you want. But so the notation should be right, and the formula should be the same as that of the standard. Okay. So now you can see that the air standard efficiency, and you can see the air standard efficiency and mean effective pressure derivation for this Otto cycle. Suppose if you consider 1 kilogram of air, as the air is the working substance, that comes under the assumption. So what is the amount of heat energy that is supplied at constant volume? So what is the amount of heat energy that is supplied? We know the formula for Q, that is Q is equal to MC del T. Okay, so in MC del T, so M is 1 kg. So M is 1 kg. C, since the heat energy or the heat amount of heat energy that is supplied is at constant volume, so we take this specific heat symbol as C suffix V, and heat is added during the process 2 to 3. So temperature, this will be higher and this will be lower. T3 will be higher and T2 will be lower. So T3 minus T2. So this difference between the temperatures, higher and lower. And similarly for heat rejected at constant volume, Cv into T4 minus T1. So heat is rejected during this process. You can see here. So that is during 4 to 1 heat is rejected. So this also takes place at a constant volume. So MCV into T4 minus T1. Okay, so we know that work done formula QS minus QR. So this is Cv into T3 minus T2 minus Cv into T4 minus T1. So if you want to find the efficiency, the work done by heat supplied. So what is the work done? Work done is the difference between QS and QR. So this is the difference between QS, that is Cv into T3 minus T2 minus Cv into T4 minus T1 divided by what is the amount of heat energy that is supplied, Cv into T3 minus T2. So 1 minus, you can take all this Cv out, and you can in both in numerator and denominator, so you can cancel this Cv value, and that will be T4 minus T1 divided by T3 minus T2. So these two will be 1 and minus T4 minus T1 by T3 minus T2. So here you have compression ratio and expansion ratio. So in this Otto cycle, these two ratios are considered to be same, that is V1 by V2 and V4 by V3. So both this compression and the expansion are considered to be same. So V1 by V2 will be equal to V4 by V3. Okay. So now when we have to go for PVT relations. So if it is an adiabatic process, I have told you how we have to write this PVT relation. P pressure, V volume, and T temperature. Pressure in Newton per meter square or in bar, volume in meter cube, and T in Kelvin. Okay. So P1, V1, T1 are the initial conditions, and P2, V2, T2 are the final conditions. So this is for process 1 to 2, and it changes for 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 1. So based on the conditions, whether pressure is constant, temperature is constant, and volume is constant, we have to apply this PVT according to the conditions that is given in the process. So here you can see in this PV and TS diagram, that. So here this is 1 to 2 is an adiabatic process, and 2 to 3 is a constant volume process, and 3 to 4 is adiabatic, and 4 to 1 is constant volume. So since this is an adiabatic process, you have to write the PV relation. So P1 V1 T1, so that is P1 by P2, it should be equal to V1 by V2 or V2 by V1, that is equal to T1 by T2, and this is an adiabatic process. So you have to use this adiabatic index. So PV power gamma is equal to constant, right? So PV power gamma is equal to constant, that is you have to write as P should be equal to C divided by V power gamma, right? So that will be C into V inverse of gamma. So P is equal to C into V inverse of gamma. So when you write that like that, so V inverse, so that means if you substitute the value of P in the numerator as 1, so in V you have to substitute as 2. So P1 by P2 will be equal to V2 by V1 whole power gamma. So that is PV power gamma is equal to constant. You can see in this PVT relations. Okay. So PV. So here temperature, when you go for temperature also, so that will be T1 and T2. So PV and T relation should be clearly known to you. So then only, so this I have given everything in the class, how to write this PVT relation. Okay. So here, so when you take this temperature and volume, because so you are going to write the value of this air standard efficiency in terms of this compression ratio. So in that you have volume ratios, and in case of efficiency with respect to its temperature you have T. So you have to make this T1, T4, T3 or T2 in terms of V. So and then you have to simplify this. So you can see the relation for 1 to 2. So V1 by V2 or T2 by T1. So 1 to 2. So T2 by T1 will be equal to V1 by V2 whole power gamma minus 1. So T2 will be equal to T1 into R power gamma minus 1. So V1 by V2 is R. So then T3 by T4 is equal to V4 by V3. So that is R power V4 by V3 power gamma minus 1. So T3 will be equal to T4 into R. This is R. So R power gamma minus 1. So you are going to substitute these values. So that is T3 and T2 in terms of this T1 and T4. So in this relation, and you can get relations like this, and you have to simplify this equation. So take T4 and T1 commonly out of this term. Then if you take that, T4 minus T1 will be like this, and the common term is R power gamma minus 1. So that is taken out. So T4 minus T1 divided by T4 minus T1. So that will be equal to 1 minus 1 by, so these two will get cancelled, and you will get 1 by R, 1 minus 1 by R power gamma minus 1. So this is the expression for this air standard efficiency expression for this Otto cycle. And when you go for this mean effective pressure, so it is mean effective pressure, it is given us the ratio between work that is done and this stroke volume. So we know in this diagram, in PV and TS diagram, so this one is up to this area is clearance volume, and the total this length, that is from 1 to 2 length, is the stroke volume. So when you subtract this 1 and 2, that is V1 and V2, so you will get the stroke volume. So the same you are going to see here. So that is in case of this, so this mean effective pressure, so you can see this is the work done, and this is the work done, and this one is the stroke volume. So mean effective pressure should always be in bar or in Newton per meter square. So, but when you want to substitute this, or when you want to give this unit in terms of bar, so you know that pressure here. So here you have pressure in and volume. So pressure will be in terms of bar or Newton per meter square, and volume will be in meter cube. So you have to convert this, and you have to write in terms of bar. Okay. And when you go for the mean effective pressure, so this is the formula. So first initially you are going to find the value of work done, and also you know the value how to write this is stroke volume, that is V1 minus V2. So first we will find the formula for this work done. So you see here, so you can see here. So if you want to find the work done, so work is a path function, we all know that. So if some area is given, so you can easily find the work done. So here in this diagram, so W is equal to P integral dV. We know that is the formula for work done. So you should know the area for 1, 2, 3, 4. So how will you find the area for 1, 2, 3, 4? So from 3 to 4, so you draw a dotted line here, and you hatch, and similarly from 1 to this line, and you hatch it fully, and you subtract this area. So if you subtract this area, you will get the area of 1, 2, 3, 4. So that is P3 V3 minus P4 V4 by gamma minus 1. So this is the work done for adiabatic process, and when you subtract with the adiabatic work done during this 1 to 2, that is P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by gamma minus 1. So when you subtract these two, so that is P3 V3 minus P4 V4 by gamma minus 1 minus P2 V2 minus P1 V1 by gamma minus 1. So into 10 square kilojoule. Okay, so that is 10 power 5 divided by 10 power 3. So you will get a 10 square. So that I told you in this PV relation, characteristic gas equation, why you have to multiply this by 10 square, that is 100. 10 square kilojoule, that is 10 square into kilo is 10 power 3. So 10 square into 10 power 3. So 10 power 5. So joules. Okay. So why we are writing this? Because so we have to convert everything into bar. This joule has to be converted into bar. So we can see here. So pressure is given in bar or in Newton per meter square, and volume in meter cube. So this has to be given in terms of joule. So for that you substitute that PV is equal to MRT. So from that equation you know how we have to convert this. Okay. Now how we can get the value of M in kg. So everything I have told you. And also this P3 by P4 is equal to R power gamma, which is equal to P2 by P1. So this is the relation for this because P3 by P4 is equal to R power gamma, and also P2 by P1 is also equal to R power gamma. So P3 by P4 will be equal to P2 by P1. Okay. So that P3 by P4 you can see here. So P3 by P4 is equal to P2 by P. So you can write like this: P3 by P2 will be equal to P4 by P1. So when you see in the diagram, that is P3 by P2 is equal to P4 by P1. So this is taken as the pressure ratio, that is called as RP, that is the pressure ratio. You can see. So this RP, it stands for pressure ratio, that is P3 by P2 is equal to P4 by P1 is equal to RP is the pressure ratio. Already we know that V1 by V2 is equal to V4 by V3 is equal to R. There is compression ratio or the expansion ratio. They are considered as same. So we had given a notation as R. So now we are going to find the value of W, and then we are going to substitute in this mean effective pressure definition or the equation. That is W is equal to work done by the ratio between the work done and the stroke volume. So here you can see that So P4 P3 by P4 minus P4 by V4 by gamma minus 1 minus P2 V2 minus, so you can take this gamma minus 1 out, so that 1 by gamma minus 1, and the remaining is P3 V3 minus P4 V4 minus P2 V2 minus P1 V1. Okay, so you can change this. So here take this P4 V4 out in this and P1 V1 out in this term. So here you are taken this P4 V4 out of the term. So if you take that, on the same time you have to divide that. Okay, but you can say that multiply and divide the term by P4 V4. So if this is divided, P4 V4 is taken out. So P3 V3 by P4 V4 minus P4 V4 by P4 V4, that becomes 1. And the same case here. So P1 V1 into P2 V2 divided by this by P1 V1 minus P1 V1 divided by P1 V1. So you will get this value. So P4 V4 into P3 by P4, okay, and V3 by V4. So what is V? We know that V4 by V3 is equal to R. So V3 by V4 is equal to 1 by R minus 1, and P1 V1 into P2 by P1. So P2 by P1 is here, and V1 by V2 is R. So V2 by V1 is equal to 1 by R minus 1. So you can see in this, so V4, so you go to that PV diagram. So here V4 is equal to V1. V4 is equal to V1. So instead of that V4, so you can take this as V1. So P4 V1 into P3 by P4 into R minus 1 minus P1 V1 into P2 by P1 into R minus 1. So here you have V1 as a common term. So this V1 can be taken out of this square bracket. V1 is taken out, and remaining you can see that P4 into, so P3 by this P3 by P4, so you can say that is R power gamma minus 1, okay, minus 1. So here you have R, so P3 by P4 itself is R power gamma into 1 by R is R inverse, so R power gamma minus 1 minus 1 minus P1 into R power P2 by P1 is R into 1 by R is R inverse. So that when you write these two combined together, then R power gamma minus 1 minus 1. So V1 by gamma minus 1 into this R power, take the common terms out. R power gamma minus 1 is common in both these terms. So R power gamma minus 1 into P4 minus P1. So here, so even now, so you multiply and you are going to multiply and divide this term by P1. So P1 here and P4 by P1 is R and P1 by P1 is 1. So P1 V1 by gamma minus 1 into R power gamma minus 1 into Rp minus 1. That is Rp is nothing but the pressure ratio. Okay. So now we are going to substitute. We know the formula for work done. We are going to substitute in this mean effective pressure. So Pm is equal to, the formula for this is P1 V1 by gamma minus 1 into R power gamma minus 1 into Rp minus 1 divided by V1 minus V2. So this P1 V1 divided by gamma. So this gamma minus 1 can you can make this to the, or you can change this to the denominator side. Okay, so V1 minus V2 divided by, so you take this, okay, so V1 minus V2, so V2 is V1 by V2 is equal to R, so you substitute that for V2, so it becomes V1 by R. So when you take this V1 commonly out of this, it becomes 1 minus 1 by R. So when you simplify, that becomes R minus 1 by R. So you can see here, so V1 into R minus 1 by R. So P1 V1 divided by gamma minus 1 into R power gamma minus 1 into Rp minus 1 divided by V1 into R minus 1 by R. So this V1 and this V1 you can cancel. So you can get P1 by gamma minus 1 is there into this R. You can bring this to the numerator side. P1 into R power gamma minus 1 into Rp minus 1 divided by gamma minus 1 into R minus 1. So this is the formula for this mean effective pressure for a Otto cycle. So most probably you may not able to remember this formula. So in those times you have to use the for definition for this, and you have to arrive this formula. That is mean effective pressure is nothing but work done, the ratio between work done and the stroke volume. So if you find the value of work done, so work done can also be found out with the help of this Qs minus QR. Okay, because efficiency is work done by heat supplied, that work done is nothing but Qs minus QR, and you can put that Qs minus QR here by V1 minus V2. Okay, so with the help of that formula also you can find the value of mean effective pressure. Suppose you forget this formula, so you can go for. So now we can move on to a problem that an engine of 250 mm bore and 375 mm stroke works on Otto cycle. The clearance volume is 0.0263 meter cube and the initial pressure and temperature are 1 bar. So the initial pressure and temperature are 1 bar and 50 degrees centigrade. If the maximum pressure is limited to 25 bar, find the following. So you have to find this air standard efficiency and the mean effective pressure, and conditions are given that you are going to assume this ideal conditions. An engine of 250 mm bore is nothing but dia, and stroke length is given to you. Okay, that is Vs is 375 mm, and that is Vs not Vs, L is given as 375 mm, and for volume, so you have to multiply by area into length. So you have to, for finding the area, this bore is given. That means for finding this stroke volume, so you are getting the data of D and L. Okay, and the clearance volume is given to you, Vc is given to you, that is R is equal to V1 by V2. V1 is nothing but the sum of clearance volume and the stroke volume, and that from that this clearance volume is known to you, already stroke volume is known to you. Okay, so with the help of D and L you can find stroke volume. Now you know the clearance volume, so easily you can find the value of R. So the initial pressure and temperature P1 and T1 are given to you, and V1 pressure and temperature P1 and T1 are given to you. The maximum pressure is limited to 25 bar. So you have to draw that PV and TS diagram, and you have to see which is at the peak in case of PV diagram, whether 1, 2 or 3 or 4 is at the peak level. So if the pressure is given to you, if 3 is at the peak, then P3 is here is 25 bar, right? So you are going to find the air standard efficiency and mean effective pressure. Okay, so now this is the solution. Bore is given, diameter is given, stroke length is given. So convert everything into meters. Okay, clearance volume is given, initial pressure, temperature. So temperature, if it is 50 degrees centigrade, you add 273 with that to convert into Kelvin. So this is the diagram, PV diagram, which represents the Otto cycle. Okay, so this is a clearance volume and a stroke volume. So the total volume is nothing but the sum of Vc and sum of this clearance volume and the stroke volume. So the maximum pressure that is limited is, so this is the peak point in this graph. So P3 is 25 bar. Okay, so Vs is equal to area into length. Area is pi by 4 d square into L. D is known to you, the diameter is known to you, and length. Okay, then compression ratio is R, Vs plus Vc by Vc. As I told you, Vs is determined using the formula, and Vc is already given there, so you can find the value of R. So air standard efficiency is for Otto cycle is 1 minus 1 by R whole power gamma minus 1. So you can easily find the value of this air standard efficiency by substituting the value of R in this formula, and gamma is 1.4 for air, and mean effective pressure PM is, so you have to find the value of mean effective pressure. So if you know this formula, you directly substitute in this, otherwise you have to use work done ratio between work done and this stroke volume. So here PM is P1R R power gamma minus 1 by RP minus 1 by gamma minus 1 into R minus 1. That is, you are need of P1, R is already known to you, gamma is known, and the only thing is you should know pressure ratio. If you know the pressure ratio, you can easily find the value of this mean effective pressure. Okay, so pressure ratio, we know that it is P3 by P2. So you have to find the value of this pressure ratio. P3 is nothing but the maximum pressure. So that is already given as 25 bar. So P2 is the only thing you have to find. And how will you find this P2? With the help of this PVT relation. So PV power gamma is equal to constant. That is P1 V1 power gamma is equal to P2 V2 power gamma. So here P1 by P2 will be equal to V2 by V1 whole power gamma. So from this relation, P2 will be equal to P1 into V1 by V2 whole power gamma. That is V1 by V2 is nothing but R power 1.4, that is equal to 1 into 8 power 1.4, that is 18.38. So when you substitute here, you will get the value of pressure ratio, and substitute in this equation, you will get the value of mean effective pressure. So we can see that diesel cycle and some problems related to auto cycle in the next class.